Let's get it. Let's absolutely get it. Whew. I'm sweating. Haven't showered today. It's not in the cards. It's just not in the cards. Holy hell. Spencer Stewart says, just another ha 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 laugher. LOL. I mean, I don't even know how to feel. I really don't. It's weird because I feel like a lot of the times when the Niners end up losing these massive games, I can tell myself, I feel like the Niners were the better team and they kind of outplayed them and they had a couple breaks go against them. I mean, I've been saying it all year. I know there's a lot of like Lakers fans that are also Niners fans, but for like us Warriors fans that are also Niners fans, like I've been saying, I really think that there is like some ritual blood sacrificing going on with the Dubs this year because they are just fine. They're inventing ways to lose by 1 point. It's miraculous. And I just feel like it's like they are sacrificing so that the freaking 49ers can have just all the luck up their asses. Oh my God. All right. We got to start just off the top. And I will be hopping on Larry's stream. I know that sometimes, he's probably going to be interviewing players and whatnot after the game. So I just had to get on here and get some thoughts off. Well, that couldn't have started any worse. It's really insanely cool that they came back and won that game. But the defense, this is not a championship defense, unfortunately. Now, defense isn't really sticky in the NFL, and like the defense can show up for a game. That's what we got. Us Niners fans have to hope for in the Super Bowl. That they can just show up and maybe get some turnovers, get a little lucky. But this defense is not what Niners fans are used to. And for the most part, this team is going to have to beat you with offense. And, the two biggest weaknesses in the biggest weakness in the Shanahan era, 100% is especially the interior O-line, but it is the offensive line when they have to pass block in obvious passing situations, AKA when the 49ers get down. When the 49ers get down and they have to throw, like they just crumble. They absolutely crumble. They get pushed all around. You saw Detroit just mauling the interior O-line. Woodpit 420 said his power went out the whole third quarter. I'm guessing because you probably just, I don't know, poured water. You did something to just destroy your electricity. Because I was just right there with you. I was at a bar and I had to go home, and I thought I was just going to be sulking at home. At one point, I had to close my eyes and just listen to the broadcast because I just couldn't take it. It just felt like the Lions were just shoving it down the Niners' throats, and there was just nothing they could do about it. There was simply nothing they could do about it. And for the most part, that just held true for like most of the game. It just came down to little things like the Lions dropping passes and whatnot. But anyway, back to the Shanahan thing. So the Lions and the Packers, I think, were both smart in taking the ball first. Now, it could have been a really bad thing if, the 49ers defense stopped them and then the Niners got, to control the game with at 0-0. But the fact that they got both of them got out to a lead early, it just immediately kind of like flusters the Shanahan system. And it just makes it just takes them out of their flow. And Shanahan's such a control freak. Like he has to control. He's trying everything he can to bend the game of football to his will. He wants to get up and then he wants to be able to, run and do all of his stuff. And then he wants his defense to be able to tee off on the other team who is having to be put into obvious passing situations. And that's when the whole thing gets humming. And that's how they can just all of a sudden they just blow you out. But this is now 2 games in a row where they've had to overcome these deficits. And it is scary. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I trust it. I seriously 10 out of 10 on the trust scale with Purdy. Now, last game, I was not feeling good every time he dropped back, but I was blaming it on the rain. Today, he was scaring the shit out of me. And I'm not really putting it on Purdy necessarily. It's just when the O-line's just crumbling around him, getting that interior pressure, and it's like he's just dropping back to pass. Like, it's just everything gets tipped. He can't, like, really set his feet. He's throwing off his back foot, and, like, ducks are coming out. And it's just like, I don't know where the hell these balls are going. Like I'm seriously like having a panic attack pretty much every time they're dropping back. And yeah, it just did not look good. And I mean, shit, they got some breaks and I'm cool with it, man. That was just insane. I mean, Dan Campbell, the guy's got some of the biggest nuts in the league, some of the biggest nuts I've really ever seen going for it on those fourth downs. But the thing is, I respect it because as a just from a fan perspective, yes, once they got up a bunch, I was sort of hoping that he would go for it, just like praying that he wouldn't get it. And then that's a possibility for them to get back in the game. But for the most part, I mean, that shit's scary, man. It is so scary when the other team you just know they're going to go for it on fourth down, especially how they were just absolutely imposing their will. And Niners got lucky a couple times, some drop passes, Reynolds, and I don't know. It is a weird thing where I think a lot of the stuff that's positive about the fourth down, going for the fourth down stuff, I mean, yeah, it's a huge momentum changer if you get it, and it's a way of like gaining control of the game if you get it. But I mean, anybody that doesn't believe in momentum just has to watch the third quarter of that game. I mean, it was shocking. Like the Lions receivers started kind of pissing down their legs. I mean, Gibbs lines up on the wrong side of Goff, and they kind of screw up the exchange and fumble it. And oh my God, I got to give props to Purdy though, just for the running. The running was so sweet. It was just such a cool, like, there we go. That right there is the difference between him and Jimmy G. And I do think that Shanahan has to, and it's probably some offseason changes, but he's got to adapt the offense a little bit just to Purdy's skill set a little bit more. Because Purdy can roll out when Purdy's rolling out and he's got time, like he'll make plays, he can run. And it's just like when he's just in the middle and the pocket is just collapsing on his ass, it is scary. It's absolutely scary. Jake Moody, we all knew he'd come back to I think every 49ers fan watching that field goal was like, oh, this isn't going in. And then he missed it, but you got to give it to the guy. He was a heart attack for the rest of the game, but he made everything, made the PATs. And Jesus Christ, the 49ers are going back to the Super Bowl. Immediately, I think people are going to be shocked when they see that the Niners are favorites by 2.5 or 3 points. Like that just is what it is. But it's like these Vegas people, I mean, they have some of the like best data companies in the world, like just processing all of this stuff. And you saw it with the Ravens. Like there was something that came out, like all the advanced numbers and whatever were saying that the Ravens were like the number 7 best team of all time. And so the line just kept moving towards them, and it got all the way up to 4.5. And I think the Niners are like the 11th best team by that same metric. And I think it's going to open up like 2.5. But I got to say, I'm not very confident. The Chiefs, I mean, granted, their offense did slow down in the second half of that game. But I mean, they have the best defense. I tweeted this during the game, like the Chiefs defense is the best unit left in the playoffs. Their D is unbelievable. It just, it doesn't get the love because Mahomes, obviously, but it's like Spags is the fucking man. That guy is so good in these big games. And same thing, Chris Jones. Like I'll take Chris Jones over Aaron Donald in a big game 100% of the time. The guy is just an absolute game record, makes plays, always makes plays. Like it's not like one of those things where it's like, oh, well, he graded out. He didn't get any sacks, but he graded out at a 96. It's like, no, Chris Jones gets hands on balls. He gets fucking sacks. He gets, strip sacks. He does all this crazy stuff, stuffs the run. And it's like Snead and, what's the other fool? The young boy who's just absolutely balling the cornerback for the Chiefs. Blanking right now. But both of those boys are, I mean, that guy has to be the best cornerback duo in the league. They're frightening. That defense is frightening, and it is exactly what is going to give the Niners trouble, is like this interior pressure from Chris Jones and the boys. Whew. But you know what? It's 2 weeks. A lot can change in 2 weeks. I will say, Chase Young looks like ass. Chase Young, sure, he's a physical freak. He can, I guess, get to the passer, but like he is not setting the edge. He's so not fundamental. And it really, you can see his effort just costing them out there on play after play. Woodpit 420 says our D is really underperforming with Wilkes. I don't love the scheme. I totally agree. I mean, I just don't have the trust in Wilkes that I had in even Saleh. And I thought, pretty quickly I was like, oh, D'Amico is a huge upgrade from Saleh. But Steve Wilkes, man, he scares the crap out of me. I just don't trust him. And Ben Johnson, I mean, he scared the shit out of me. That guy is cooking. I will say it's really sad for Lions fans because they're going to lose Ben Johnson. And that's the one advantage of having a play caller as a head coach is you get to keep retaining him. But like that guy is a freaking dog. It's so sick that he didn't like come from the McVay tree or the Shanahan tree or the Andy Reid tree. Like dude just came out of nowhere and he's just got, I mean, how many times did they like attempt like flea flickers and all this creative ass shit? Man, Jameson Williams really looked good. That offensive line for the Lions is no joke. I love the way they built their team just through both the lines. I hope that Lions fans just kind of after the pain wears off, just I hope they can really appreciate like what they got. I mean, that was not a team that was like a totally worthy opponent. And if they made it to the Super Bowl, they absolutely would have had a chance versus the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs would be favored by like 2.5 or 3, but they could absolutely beat the Chiefs. The only thing that was like keeping me from like actually like, getting naked and running through the streets in fear was that I had a bunch of Super Bowl futures on the Lions, on the Honolulu Blue. Boy. Oh God. Well, let's just talk a little bit about the other game. I mean, the Chiefs, man, it's like everyone has to recalibrate how they feel about the Chiefs. The Chiefs are the best defensive team in the league. Their special teams, which no one thinks about. Butker's a fucking stud. The guy nails everything from 60 in. Like he is what people think like of Justin Tucker, basically. Like Butker is just an absolute stud. Townsend, their punter, is an absolute stud. Their defense is, like I said, I think the best defense in the league. And their offense still has the best quarterback in the league. So even though they're not doing the Tyreek Hill craziness and scoring in insane bunches, I mean, their offensive performance versus the Bills, like they should have beat the Bills by more. They pretty much were perfect versus the Bills. It was frightening. And they came out and looked the exact same way versus the Ravens. Really, it was like the first 2-3 drives. I mean, they've got a run game with Pacheco. But goddamn. Why does Patrick Mahomes have to be so freaking annoying, man? As a Steph Curry fan, like I just feel like he's got so much Curry in him, but then like he's got this like 30% of him that's like, and it's getting bigger, where it's like almost like Joffrey Baratheon, like sort of just not cockiness, but just kind of like entitlement. Like he's just like feels like he's entitled to like all these calls. And Kelsey also, dude. I mean, I don't really like Kelsey's personality. Like I never really understood that. I mean, I get now he's got Taylor Swift and now he's in like every commercial and all this stuff. But like, I always thought he was kind of weird. Like he always kind of like talked ghetto, sort of like dressed ghetto. And it's kind of weird when you see like his brother, Jason Kelsey, who couldn't be like further from that. And it seems like he's kind of switched up his personality again. And he's just annoying, man. They just talk so much shit. Woodpit 420 says we lost a lot of our run stopping with Hargrave in there. Bro, I know. The 49, I know. Honestly, it's like the interior of both of their lines. Like it's fine that they can get after the passer, but like this defense at this point is built. It reminds me sadly a little bit of like the Cowboys almost. Like it's kind of a soft defense at this point, which is really weird to say with like the dogs they have at linebacker and stuff. But if they're up big, they can tee off on you, and yeah, they can get a bunch of sacks, but they become like really turnover dependent. I mean, they had some big plays today, I guess. But I mean, when you just think about all of the different like aspects of a football team, like I think Andy Reid and Shanahan, that's a wash. And then you think quarterback, obviously Mahomes. Offense, I would give it to the Niners. I think the Niners have the better overall offense. But defense, I think Kansas City, I think Kansas City's defense is better than the 49ers defense by more of a margin than the 49ers offense is better than the Kansas City offense. And then special teams, I mean, Wisnowski is I mean, he's an absolute dog. Dude is, I mean, I don't know how he wasn't an all-pro this year. Dude is absolutely a dog. But I mean, Jake Moody, man, I mean, kicking in Super Bowls and big games, it's too huge. It is absolutely too huge. I still think Moody could come good. He's barely missing. He's not shanking anything. I agree with that. I mean, he's like, he's kind of got balls of steel to just like be able to like roll back out there and nail those ones. I like that he was like nailing the PATs like right through the middle. Woodpit says, yeah, I've had enough of Mahomes. He's too entitled. Bose has to go through like 3 guys to get pressure. I know. And you know what else? Got to give it up for Goff. I thought Goff played great. And he totally hung in there. And how many times as Niners fans did we see him just crumble against the 49ers defense when he was playing for the Rams? Just like, I thought he became like the most sackable quarterback in the league. Like he kind of took the mantle from Matt Ryan. Like just looks like it's because he's like feeder in cement. But I mean, with everything they've got going there, I mean, it's just pretty cool. It's pretty cool that Goff, you know, he showed up. Like you can't put that on Goff. Now, I will say I got to call out. There was a lot of 49ers fans. And I mean, I fully thought they were going to lose. I pushed the panic button. But I was seeing takes out there on the timeline. I saw fire Shanahan, bring in Belichick. I saw, you know, blow it all up all over the place. People saying blow it all up, blow it all up. I saw people saying Purdy isn't it, you know, draft Spencer Rattler in the 3rd round, shit like that. And you got to give it to Purdy. I mean, I think that we all overshot the mark a little bit with maybe how good he was, thinking he was basically just Drew Brees, but he's gutsy. And I don't know, he's kind of got a horseshoe up his ass, and I love it. I would have run it 1st and 2nd down if I were the Lions. I know it is so scary. Like the way they go, it seems like almost like it seems like something that like a fan base would complain about because it seems too predetermined. But the way that they just start out the game and it's like, all right, first drive, Montgomery, you're getting every carry. And then second drive, all right, Montgomery, you take a rest. We're giving it to Gibbs every time. And it is just like they're both just so damn fresh and so good and so scary. Yes, it is like Warriors fans melting down. So, I mean, shit. Comparing this to 2019, I got to say I was more confident that the Niners would win the Super Bowl in 2019 going into this matchup versus KC, which is weird because theoretically you should think that this is a better Niners team with a little bit of a better quarterback and and against, you know, a worse version of the Chiefs. But I don't know, man. I just don't know. It's just also not a great look that the way they played their first 2 games. But the discourse should be just absolutely toxic. This next week, like the Lamar Jackson discourse will be extremely toxic. Just all these people that were propping him up are all now going to talk about how he has 2 playoff wins and 2 MVPs, which is pretty shocking. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of gurgling Mahomes and Kelsey and Taylor Swift talk. And it's going to be, I mean, this was the perfect kind of Purdy. Both of these were like the perfect sort of Purdy game for like the debate shows. Cause you could see whatever you wanted to see in that game out of Purdy. You can make an argument that this game shows how great Brock Purdy is and that he's different and that you shouldn't have doubted him. And he guy comes up clutch and makes huge plays and when it counts most. Or you could say, oh, come on. I mean, the guy got lucky with the, you know, deep past Ayuk and he had that terrible pick. It's perfect fodder. I think Purdy is just an absolute gift to the sports world because he's just the perfect, like right down the middle. You can just have an awesome debate about it either way. But man, it felt like the window was slamming shut with the Niners today. And you just got handed to Shanahan and the boys. So happy for George Kittle. Another thing that needs to be talked about with Larry. I was seeing a lot of tweets from like Detroit press that were saying like, Yo, this is some bullshit. Like the 49ers press box is straight cheering for the 49ers, which is like obviously a huge no-go. And even more so when it's the freaking championship game. And like you got national media in there, you got the other team. Like it's just a bad look. So we got to figure out who those people were that were cheering. Apparently there was a huge cheer like on the fumble, which honestly I understand. I was in the press box last year and I didn't give a shit. I'm a fan, man. I'm not trying to put on any I'm not trying to pretend that there's some sort of invisible line between my fandom and how it's been removed because I'm now sitting in a journalistic position. Like, fuck that. Just at least, you know what? You're a journalist. You should be honest. Be honest about your emotions, bro. If you're, if you're some dude who grew up like, I don't know, a Arizona Cardinals fan and you found yourself in the 49ers press box, sure, shut your ass up. But, for people that grew up as 49ers fans, I mean, who really cares? I mean, what is media even becoming? I'm seeing like guys like David Lombardi, like he works at The Athletic. I mean, he's like, is kind of like a pro Purdy sort of like crusader. And in a similar way that like a Nick Wright is like a crusader for Mahomes. So I think the lines are just getting blurred. And honestly, who gives a shit? Who really gives a shit? Yeah, I mean, media's bizarre right now. So, let's see. I mean, now, okay. I'm trying to see if anybody. Oh, people are calling the Ayuk catch the fluke to Ayuk, which I actually love. That's just pretty memorable, pretty awesome. I mean, that was just a massive game for Shanahan and the boys. Massive game. Yep, there we go. San Francisco is favored by 3 points against the Chiefs. 3 points opened up. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. I definitely will be emotionally hedging that game 100%. Yeah. Okay. I think Larry's about to go on, so I will hop off, but I just had to share some thoughts. Holy shit. Gonna everybody just go consume as much media as possible because you just don't get the Super Bowl very often. And it's just so damn fun to hear people talking about your team, especially when they come back and win like this. So everybody, good on you. Like and subscribe if you'd like. I'd appreciate it. And tune into the Krug Show because that is happening very soon. Later.